Should you buy Hogwarts Legacy or boycott the game? Deciding on whether to buy a product surrounded in controversy can be a daunting task. When so many opinions on so many things change like the tide of a rough storm, one would not be blamed for being torn in their decision. Well, I wouldn't blame you. There's a lot of people out there that would, and that's never going to change no matter your opinion. Now I know some people in the comments are going to start typing, Hogwarts shit game anyway, no one cares. That's inevitable, but my thoughts on whether the game is actually good or not are neither here nor there. This video has been created with the aim to help you decide on whether you should buy Hogwarts Legacy or not. We will cover the root of the controversy along with benefits for and against the boycott. This is a very popular game right now, and I think it's only fair everybody understand what's going on so they are completely comfortable with purchasing the game or not. And in an extremely nuanced conversation such as this, the only right answer is the one you make for yourself alone. Whatever choice you make at the end of this video is your decision, and that's why it's right for you. Don't let anyone say you're wrong. I mean, sure, your choice might not be right for another individual, but that's because everyone is unique and ever changing. And one more thing before we dive in. I want to make it perfectly clear that this video and subsequently the Exile channel is in full support of the trans rights movement and the LGBTQ+ community as a whole. Right, so now you know what you're in for. If you're still here, sit back, open your mind, and I hope this video helps. For those of you not quite aware of why there's so much talk around Hogwarts Legacy, let me fill you in. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series and creator of the wizarding world in which Hogwarts Legacy is set, has made open statements surrounding her opinions on transsexual men, women, and non-binary people. Many view these statements as transphobic. For a better understanding of why Rowling's views are seen as transphobic, here's an excerpt from trans YouTuber Jamie Dodger, who explains it a lot better than I ever could.
I wanted to talk to you about why what she tweeted recently was transphobic and why it's so hurtful to the trans community, the partners of trans people, friends, family, supporters of the trans community, why it is just hurtful. If sex isn't real, there is no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. Firstly, no one is trying to say that sex isn't real. In my opinion, this is just a very weak thing said by anti-trans people to make trans people seem illogical. But sex is not what defines a person's gender. And using this argument and trying to say that sex is the be-all and end-all and sex is the same as gender is very outdated. Some people might see me, a trans man, and say that due to the likelihood that my chromosomes are XX, not that I know or anybody else knows, that my sex is female. I'm just going to go through some points quickly about why this rhetoric is transphobic and quite frankly, flawed. Chromosomes aren't always XX and XY, and they don't always match up with the typical biological sex that you would expect them to, or that many people would expect them to. Intersex people are a very real thing. Records of legal sex can be changed, just like records of gender identity. My legal sex is male, my birth certificate says male, and that's important. And why the hell does it matter? Trans men and trans women are not trying to say, look at me, I'm cisgender. We're not trying to hide our journeys. We just want to live our lives as the gender we know we are. So transphobes splitting hairs on this outdated and exclusive terminology is quite frankly getting very boring.
So this is the main crux of why people have come to the decision to boycott Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of people have been left feeling upset, angry, and let down by J.K. Rowling's opinions, especially those that are transsexual. In essence, the idea of boycotting Hogwarts Legacy is to 1. Stand in solidarity to show the world and Rowling that the type of behaviour she has shown is unacceptable. 2. To help trans people to feel supported and acknowledged. And 3. For the game to become a financial failure that will negatively affect Rowling.
Like, you'll support trans people, but not when they want you to not buy a game you're really excited for. And it's like, I feel like that's the time to prove yourself. Like, are you really, are you really supportive of trans people? Then don't buy the Wizard game, you know?
Understandingly, many trans people no longer want to immerse themselves in a world created by what they deem to be a transphobe. Whether you agree or disagree with the boycott, it can't be denied that this movement is a clear indication of support for the LGBTQ+ community. It plainly portrays beliefs in a way that is easy to understand and get behind. That sounds simple enough. If you don't agree with Rowling and want to show support for trans rights, then steer clear from Hogwarts Legacy, correct? Well, yes, but it goes much deeper than that. It's important to understand that Rowling is making royalties on Hogwarts Legacy, but she has never been directly involved with the development of the game in any way. She will make a lot of money from this game, however, it's most likely negligible compared to her net worth. In layman's terms, it's not making a dent in her massive wallet, not even a small scratch on the surface of her wealth. Many have said that they choose to support Hogwarts Legacy despite being against Rowling's comments, because they would like to support the developers of the game, some of which are trans themselves. They believe that boycotting the game would surely have a negative impact on many LGBTQ+ employees a great deal more than it would impact Rowling. Now for some, that's enough for them to stand with the game. For others, the list of supporting factors goes on. Hogwarts Legacy was developed with diversity in mind. When creating a character, you can decide their gender, sex, pronouns, skin color, voice, and more. You have the ability to create a transsexual character, and the game implyingly encourages it. And on top of that, the barkeep of the Three Broomsticks Inn in Hogsmeade is a transsexual woman, voiced by a transsexual woman.
Now, what can I... Oh... There's a face I haven't seen before.
If we forget about Rowling for just one moment, Hogwarts Legacy is clearly a game created to openly support and celebrate its LGBTQ+ fans. Of course, we can't forget about Rowling, which admittedly tarnishes the good things done by the devs, but I don't think that should be a reason to disregard Legacy's inclusion of diversity completely. Up to this point in the video, I've talked about the opinions of others from a non-biased point of view. I have laid everything out on the table for you to make the appropriate choice for yourself. I just feel that I can't leave this topic without saying how I feel personally. Who would I be to talk about both sides without giving any contribution? So here it is. The world is ever evolving, and the universe is created by people long dead evolve with it. There's evidence that Walt Disney was a racist man, and many of the old Disney movies were indeed very offensive and acted as a stereotype for black people. However, today we see the Disney brand embracing all walks of life. What I'm trying to get at is, as a person passes, their beliefs and opinions go with them. But the universes they create exist for the rest of the world to transform. One day J.K. Rowling will pass from this world, her opinions with her. In 100 years from now, a kid could grow up with the wizarding universe. That universe could help teach them to accept people for who they are, no matter how unique they are. That kid may have no idea who invented the wizarding world and what that inventor believed, but they might be left with a profound understanding of people and the world in which they never would have without it. I truly believe that games such as Hogwarts Legacy are setting up a young generation to see the world through a much more enlightened lens. And I think Hogwarts Legacy promotes trans rights much more than it promotes the narrow-minded views of J.K. Rowling. What better way to say a big fuck you to a transphobic person than to take their beloved world and turn it into a safe haven for everything they stand against? I think that's empowering. Now, I also want to mention that I have much to learn in life, so with that being said, I'm completely open to being wrong. Being open to improvement, education, and debate is a healthy way to better yourself and evolve as a human being. If there's anyone watching that disagrees with my opinion, honestly, that's completely understandable, and I encourage you to let me know, whether that's in the comments or, in a video of your own. Overall, I understand boycotting Hogwarts Legacy completely. It's not my place to tell trans people what to do, as, that's their struggle and not mine. So I can never truly understand it. I don't disagree with people boycotting the game, I merely choose to buy it, support the developers, and in turn, hope for an enlightening experience. So we're at the end of the video, and by now I really do hope that you have a good idea on your stance for or against Hogwarts Legacy. Again, what's right for you is the right option. No one's going to be able to take that away from you, and you should never feel guilty for having an opinion. I am the Exile, may the Father of Understanding guide us. I will see you soon. Goodbye.